St. Joseph. This is KQ2 News at 10.
Communities across northwest Missouri spent much of the day recovering after severe storms moved through the region last night. Good evening, I'm Amber Smith.
I'm Alan Van Zant. The storm system Thursday packed a punch as it moved through, producing at least one tornado in the area that downed trees and damaged some buildings. This was Wednesday. In its wake, some flooding across several counties that led to even a few water rescues. We'll have more coverage of that in just a bit. First, though, let's check in on tonight's weather. Chief Meteorologist Mike Braciano, he is here for our first forecast.
Well, Alan and Amber, we are watching some lightning down to the south of St. Joseph. We do have some scattered showers and thunderstorms down there. Let's take a look outside, show you our tower camera, and every once in a while we will see those flashes of lightning just to the south of our area. Temperatures today were in the 80s and some 90s, very warm down near Wichita and Dodge City, where they saw highs in the 90s. Right now, 76 St. Joseph, 71 Rockport, 72 in Mound City. So here's the setup. We have a very weak cold front that's going to start to move towards us. Two areas of thunderstorms that we're kind of watching. One's out in western parts of, or central parts of Kansas, and that will continue to make its way towards us, and we could see that line fill in between. And so another round of showers and thunderstorms possible as we head towards the early morning hours. Talk more about that coming up in a few minutes. Alan, Amber?
Thanks, Mike. It was a much quieter night tonight across northwest Missouri.
Storms that moved through Wednesday dumped heavy amounts of rain, swamping roads and state parks alike. The mess created an unsafe situation for travelers and created some questions for the upcoming 4th of July holiday.
Golfers wanting to play Mozingo Golf Course on Thursday would have found some extra water hazards. The course was closed due to flooding.
We've never really experienced water this high yet at Mozingo in its history.
9 inches of rain Wednesday afternoon and evening across the area drained into Mozingo Lake, where the water level was up 5 feet Thursday afternoon and rising.
This is going to be new for us. We're going to wait till the water recedes and then assess the damage from there.
Flooding impacted much of northwest Missouri, and high waters led to several detours. Emergency crews were even called in for several water rescues overnight and into the morning.
People don't realize is how fast that water can run off, and then we have a flash flooding situation. So our creeks rise quickly, the rivers rise quickly, all that water has to go somewhere.
You need to be aware of your surroundings and where you're driving to. If you see water across the road, don't cross it.
With the flooding coming so close to the 4th of July, some are wondering about Independence Day celebrations at Mozingo Lake. City officials say so much of it will depend on the weather the next several days.
For those who are planning on coming out here this weekend, certainly all of our state boat ramps, city boat ramp, so our boat ramps are closed temporarily, as well as the golf course here until the waters decide to recede.
The National Weather Service says 75-mile-per-hour straight-line winds caused some significant damage near Albany.
This is what one New Hampton family saw when they stepped out of their home this morning. They say the high winds hit suddenly and started snapping trees and ripping shingles off their roof. They say the cleanup process will be a long one, but they're grateful that no members of their family or farm animals were injured.
You never expect it to happen, and you worry about the animals because you can't get out, and they were in the barn and it took the roof off, and so you just you worry about the safety of everything.
The National Weather Service says there was an EF0 tornado in Gentry County last night near Stanberry.
Torrential rains from last night led to rising rivers and creeks across the Stanberry area. Some parts of northwest Missouri did see between 8 and 10 inches of rain, leaving rural highways covered with water. MoDOT's travel map shows more than a dozen northwest Missouri roads still closed due to flooding. You can find a list of those closures on our website at stjoechannel.com. To see MoDOT's map, visit traveler.modot.org. This is one of those roads in Gentry County. Highway H also closed near Darlington. Multiple agencies also worked together in Gentry County after a 50-year-old man was swept away by the rising waters in northwestern Gentry County. Highway Patrol says he was swiftly rescued after being spotted clinging for life to a tree. Fortunately, he was not injured, but troopers say it's an important reminder to avoid going to areas around floodwaters. Heavy rain also being blamed for an early morning crash in Gentry County. This happened near Darlington at around 4 this morning. Troopers say 58-year-old Connie Holcomb was injured after heavy rain sent her vehicle into a culvert. She was taken to Mosaic Life Care with serious injuries. She was wearing her seatbelt. More than a dozen people facing charges after a lengthy drug investigation in Chillicothe.
The Chillicothe Police Department announced the arrest today in a news release. Investigators say the illegal drug ring was operating just blocks away from 2 different schools. And even though kids are on summer break, illegal activity near schools is not something the police are taking lightly. Officers say getting these offenders off the streets directly affects the community's future.
Right now in Chillicothe, we see a lot of controlled pills being sold, used, and a lot of methamphetamine. We have to get a hold on it so that way the younger generation is not growing up and doing the same thing.
The suspects are facing possession, distribution, or delivery charges. You can find a full list of all defendants by visiting this story on our website, stjoechannel.com. President Donald Trump's limited travel ban went into effect today, just days after the Supreme Court allowed portions of it to proceed. The ban impacts 6 mostly Muslim countries and resulted in chaos at airports and months of legal battles. Under the new guidelines, if someone from a restricted country wants a visa, they have to prove a bona fide relationship to someone in the U.S. The administration defines that as a parent, spouse, child, siblings, or son or daughter-in-law. Any other relationship will be reviewed on a case-by-case basis.
It's very frustrating to know that the federal government can just redefine the concept of family. I was raised by my grandparents. The idea that I wouldn't be able to have them at my wedding it's heartbreaking.
The Supreme Court is expected to hear the case in full sometime in early October.
Demonstrators gathered outside U.S. Senator Roy Blunt's office in his Columbia office this week in hopes of changing his mind about a bill that would repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act. They held a die-in protest outside the office in Columbia. Healthcare advocates laid on the pavement to symbolize the lives they believe would be lost if the Senate healthcare bill was to pass.
May we become a society that surrounds our most vulnerable members with the compassion and care that their human dignity demands.
Blunt did not comment on the protest, but he has publicly spoke out in favor of the Senate bill, saying it preserves access to care for people with pre-existing conditions, strengthens Medicaid, and does not change Medicare.
A Republican lawmaker from Kansas introduced new bipartisan legislation this week to help curb America's diabetes epidemic. Representative Lynn Jenkins co-sponsored the Preventing Diabetes in Medicare Act of 2017 today. Jenkins says the rate of people with the condition is skyrocketing, particularly among senior citizens. The measure would provide for people with pre-diabetes and other risk factors for developing type 2 diabetes. According to the CDC, 11 million senior citizens suffer from the disease. A measure sponsored by Senator Claire McCaskill could bring new funding for the 139th Airlift Wing. The annual National Defense Authorization Act was approved by the Senate Armed Services Committee. It would secure new funding for Missouri's military installations and also provides resources to veterans who were intentionally exposed to chemical weapons during World War II. The annual defense bill also expands child care services for members of the National Guard and reserves while attending monthly drills. Mosaic Life Care is celebrating the anniversary of a partnership, providing cancer patients advice from the nation's best doctors.
It allows us to keep most of those patients locally and get world-class advice.
Coming up, what one local patient had to say about how the partnership helped save her life.
Also ahead, a scary situation for a Missouri man this morning. We'll have more on what St. Louis authorities are revealing about a sinkhole that opened up and swallowed his car.
And we continue to watch showers and thunderstorms just to the south of Kansas, or south of St. Joseph, heading into Kansas City. We'll watch back to our north and west for our chances for rain. Talk about that coming up in just a few minutes.
You're watching KQ2 News at 10.
Here is the scene in Prairieburg, Iowa, where last night's storm system left behind some extensive damage. Families are cleaning up after a confirmed tornado ripped through the area, where one family says they saw the tornado coming from behind their mobile home and quickly took shelter in a house with a basement across the street. When the storm passed, they found it had torn out their trailer right off its base.
Just a couple of laundry basketfuls of clothes that we dug out of the pile, and other than that, there hasn't been a whole lot. We've got a few over pots and pans that they're finding now, so just trying to pick up what we can.
Wow, the National Weather Service has given that tornado a preliminary EF2 rating, which also left a path of damage in Central City. A much quieter night for Chief Meteorologist Mike Brasciano, at least he says for now.
Yes,
Yeah.
for
At
now.
least for now.
For now, yes, but a lot of activity to the south of us, a lot of activity to the west of us, and to the north of us as well. So we're kind of
You're still keeping your eye on a lot of
yeah,
things.
we're surrounded by chances for showers and thunderstorms. But we'll start off with today. 82 our high, 67 the low. Normally 86 is the high and 66 is the normal low. 103, that record high, which was set back in 1952, and 50, the record low that was set in 2004. And again, we had about 0.6 of an inch of precipitation since midnight. Now you look to the north and we do see a couple of flashes of lightning. Those are from the storms that are up in Omaha. Omaha getting hit with a pretty strong storm right now. Reports of ping pong size hail in Omaha. So again, a lot of activity going on. 76 right now, dew point 72. Humidity's at 87%, a northeast wind at 7. Pressure is rising. And temperatures right now are in the 70s for the most part. Still a lot of moisture out there for us. And our Tri-State Ford camera comes into view, and every once in a while we'll see these flashes of lightning on our Tri-State Ford camera, and that's all the way from those storms that are down just to the south of Kansas City. There you can see some of those flashes of lightning. Again, they're just to the south of Maryville. Big picture shows us what we're watching. One severe thunderstorm watch box that's up for Omaha, and those were the big storms that are moving through there. This is the other one out in western parts of Kansas that we'll be watching. This whole area here is expected to fill in and make its way into the area and then finally move away. Now, the showers and thunderstorms that we're seeing down to the south, well, they're moving through Kansas City, Pattonsburg, just south of 36 Highway over towards Cameron. Again, this is all moving to the south and to the east. I still think that we'll see some showers and thunderstorms tonight in the early morning hours, and then again, everything moves away, and finally we start to settle down for the weekend. All right, tonight 68, pretty good bet for some scattered showers and thunderstorms. Could see some very early tomorrow morning as well, and 82. Finally we'll get to some sunshine and calmer conditions as we head towards Saturday. Sunday, we'll throw in a chance for maybe a late night storm, a little bit better chance on Monday than into Tuesday, and then a week from now it'll be warm.
I know you don't have your American flag on there yet, but the July 4th holiday.
4th of July, we'll kind of have to watch that one. There's some chances for showers and thunderstorms, not only in the morning, but also in the evening. So let's hope that doesn't happen. But again, don't be surprised. Thunderstorms very early tomorrow morning.
You got it. Thanks, Mike.
All right.
Well, a St. Louis man almost lost his car after a sinkhole opened up and swallowed it this morning.
City inspectors say an 8-inch water main is the cause. They say it's been broken for some time now. Fortunately, they were able to get the car out by this afternoon, but it will take weeks before the street is repaired. The car's owner says he was coming back from the gym when they noticed their car was falling into the sinkhole.
My initial thought is that they moved the car to do some, or towed the car to do some, street work or whatever. But when we came closer, our car was in the hole, 15 feet down.
The city of St. Louis estimates it will be there for weeks before the hole. It will be 3 weeks before the hole's fixed. The street department says they hear reports of small sinkholes about 2 or 3 times a week. A top Vatican official is facing sexual abuse charges in his home country tonight. Up next, what Australian officials are revealing about the allegations against the Vatican's financial czar.
Also ahead, police investigating a fatal crash involving tennis star Venus Williams. What role she played in an accident that claimed the life of a 78-year-old when we return.
A partnership between Mosaic Life Care and Mayo Clinic Care Network allows patients in Northwest Missouri a chance to get specialized care without traveling to a big city. While celebrating 5 years of this partnership, a woman explained how it saved her life. 5 years ago, Mosaic Life Care decided to partner with Mayo Clinic Care Network, allowing local doctors and patients access to some of the best specialists in the business.
The providers here in St. Joseph's at Mosaic are outstanding physicians. They do a wonderful job caring for their patients, but there may be situations where they see a rare situation, a complex cancer.
A rare form of lung cancer led Diana Deathridge to Mosaic. After learning about the partnership, she had an internet consultation with Mayo to get a second opinion.
We are able to get a second opinion from a Mayo expert within a day or two. It allows us to keep most of those patients locally and get world-class advice.
It was so nice to not have to make a trip to Minnesota. I could have that e-consult, a second opinion, without me leaving foot out, outside the city of St. Joseph.
She's not the only one that uses this service. Dr. Laney says 15 to 20 Mosaic patients get an e-consult with Mayo a month. Thanks to this partnership, Deathridge is back in good health. She says she was lucky she had access to Mayo specialists, allowing her to get the best treatment possible while staying close to home.
So between Mosaic and Mayo, they were able to come up with the very best treatment plan for me.
Dr. Laney says the partnership also allows Mosaic patients to get an in-person appointment at Mayo Clinic quickly if necessary. That's a look at your community for tonight. Alan, back to you.
All right, thanks, Amber. One of Pope Francis's top advisors took a leave of absence today after it was revealed he faces multiple criminal charges of sexual assault in his native Australia. Cardinal George Pell, the Vatican's financial czar, is the highest-ranking Vatican official ever to be charged with sexual abuse. It's a massive blow to Pope Francis, who has declared a zero-tolerance policy for sexual abuse, and now one of his closest advisors and someone considered to be the third highest-ranking official at the Holy See is heading to court.
Cardinal Pell is facing multiple charges in respect to historic sexual offences, and there are multiple complainants relating to those charges.
The court will decide next week whether to release the nature of the multiple charges. Cardinal Pell will be required to show up in court in Australia on July 18th. Venus Williams is under the spotlight tonight for a fatal traffic accident near her home in Florida. According to police reports, the 37-year-old cut in front of another car, causing it to T-bone Williams' car. A 78-year-old passenger in the other car was rushed to the hospital and died 2 weeks later. The police report says Williams was not texting or under the influence. So far, though, no charges filed, but the crash does remain under investigation. Coming up, the Royals are back at it this afternoon, looking to avoid losing their first series of the month. We've got all the best plays after the break. And speaking of Kansas City, one member of the Mustangs receiving a special honor from the Royals tomorrow night. We've got the story next in sports.
You're watching KQ2 News at 10. Now, KQ2 Sports with Jesse McWilliam.
Well, no need to panic, Royals fans. Kansas City sits just 3.5 games out of first place in the AL Central. Good evening, I'm Jesse McWilliam. But there is one bad note for the Royals. They're in jeopardy of losing their first series in almost a month. It's the rubber match. Royals trying to avoid their first series loss since May, which was against Detroit. Bottom of the first inning, no score. Justin Upton is going to get the scoring started early for the Tigers with a 3-shot into left center. Ian Kinsler and Alex Avila score. 3-0 Tigers. Now in the bottom of the fourth, Tigers extend their lead to 4-0. Andrew Romine joins the home run party with a 2-run shot of his own. Put the Tigers up by 6 runs. But we're going to fast forward here into the game. We go into the 9th simply from Morale Drew Botera. He's going to come through with a base hit. Ramon Torres and Jorge Bonifacio score. It's now 7-2. But the Royals, they're going to tack on one more, and they end up losing to the Tigers in Game 3. They lose the series 7-3. So it was a tough day for Jake Junis on the mound. He falls to 2-2, going 6 innings, allowing 6 runs, striking out 5 batters. His ERA is now up to 5.66. The Royals will return home tomorrow night for a weekend series with the Twins. Kansas City will play 4 games in 3 days against Minnesota with a doubleheader coming on Saturday. Well, the Cardinals are also on the mound tonight, looking to do some big things against the Diamondbacks. Bottom of the fourth, Cards up 2-1. Paul Goldschmidt He's going to get a hold of this one high and far, and it is gone for the solo home run for the Diamondbacks. 19th on the season, ties the game up at 2s. Now in the 7th, Cards down 3-2. Randall Grichuk, he's going to put the Cards back in the lead. 7th homer is a 3-run shot as the Cards go up 5-3 next inning. Cards, they're just deciding to show off here. They're up 7-3, and it was a big game for Grichuk. Another big hit down the left field line. 2 RBI double for him. Cardinals go on to win this one 10-4. Well, due to the rain we received this morning, the Mustangs did cancel tonight's game against the North Kansas City Giants. The game will not be made up, but for one Mustangs employee, he will receive a top honor from the Kansas City Royals tomorrow night. Former high school baseball coach, current stadium operations, and co-founder of Midwest Adaptive Sports, Stan Weston, will sit in the Buck O'Neil legacy seat at the Royals game tomorrow night against the Twins. Weston was nominated after his work with Midwest Adaptive Sports, which gives individuals with disabilities an opportunity to continue playing the sport they love. And he says that this is an incredible honor.
When you watch Royals games and you see them talk about those people, and you know there's some pretty good people in that category, and to stop and think that I was even nominated for it, and then they accepted the nomination, that was a really good feeling.
For it to be Stan Weston's really no surprise, just because his reach, he's done a lot for St. Joe, but he's done a lot for a lot of people all over the place, and so he's just a very generous person who cares a lot about people.
Well, the Royals game tomorrow against Minnesota will start at 7:15, and guys, it's always good to see one of St. Joe's very own going and getting honored by a team they love to watch.
It'll be a fun weekend down there as well. The Royals owe the Twins some payback.
Yes, they do, absolutely.
Looking good. All right, stick around. A final check of your forecast comes up next.
Well, we continue to watch different areas of showers and thunderstorms. Some big storms up to the south and east of Omaha, which we'll watch. And then there's another area out to our west, and yet again another area that's moving through Kansas City. Right now, we're right in the middle. So those chances for thunderstorms will be there, we think, again in the early morning hours.
Don't be surprised by thunder once again in the morning.
That's right.
All right.
Surprised at all.
Thanks, Mike. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you back here again tomorrow. Have a good night.